Happy Saturday po sa inyong lahat. We are on the 4th of September 2021. Pinagdiriwang natin ngayon ang Saturday of week 22 in ordinary time. Or we can also celebrate the Saturday memorial of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Halip po kayo at samahan ninyo ako sa daily readings reflection ng ating banal na misa. Sa ating first reading, once again from the letter of St. Paul to the Colossians, chapter 1, verses 21 to 23. Ang pinaka-gist po ng first reading ay, Christ has now reconciled you to present you holy and unblemished before Him. So tayo ay ni-reconcile, ibig sabihin concilio, ibig sabihin we are reconvened, no? Reconciled to be holy and unblemished before God the Father. So basahin po natin ang first reading. Brothers and sisters, you once were alienated and hostile in mind because of evil deeds. No? So kayo raw ay alienated, you're separated from God the Father, and hostile, no? Yung talagang mapag-away, mapagyera na pag-iisip dahil sa mga evil deeds. God has now reconciled you in the fleshly body of Christ through His death to present you holy, without blemish, and irreproachable before Him, provided that you persevere in the faith. So kailangan natin mag-persevere sa faith, firmly grounded, stable, and not shifting from the hope of the gospel that you heard, which has been preached to every creature under heaven, of which I, Paul, am a minister. Ano kayang ibig sabihin ng ating first reading? So una, yung holy and blameless. Ibig sabihin, once pagans and enemies of God, the baptized Colossians have been separated from sin and consecrated to the Lord. So pag-ano pa sila ay kumaaway sa Diyos. No? Ngayon, nabinyagan ng mga Colossians, ngayon they are now separated from sin. Sin is what separates us from the Lord. So yan ang natutunan ko nung high school ako ng definition ng sin. Anything that separates us from God, no? And consecrated to the Lord. Next, preach to every creature sa verse 23. Rhetorical exaggeration for the first century, but nevertheless the goal of Christ's missionary mandate. Paul is describing the future as though it's already happened, perhaps as a way of emphasizing its certainty in the plan of God, yung preached to every creature. Sa ating responsorial psalm, chapter 54, verses 3 to 4 and 6 and 8, ang ating tugon sa first reading is God Himself is my help. So ganito po ang ating responsorial psalm. O God, by your name, save me, and by your might, defend my cause. O God, hear my prayer. Hearken to the words of my mouth. God Himself is my help. Behold, God is my helper. The Lord sustains my life. Freely will I offer you sacrifice. I will praise your name, O Lord, for its goodness. God Himself is my help. Sa ating gospel sa araw na ito, Luke chapter 6 verses 1 to 5, ang gist po ay, why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath? Bakit daw nila ginagawa ang pinagbabawal na gawin sa araw ng pagpapahinga, ang Sabbath, ang Sabato, ang Sabado? Actually, ang 7th day po ay ang Saturday. Di po ba sa kalendaryo, Ang first day of the week is Sunday, kaya mga Hudyo, ang kanilang seventh day, ang kanilang rest day ay Saturday. Okay, sa ating mga Kristiyano, bakit kaya linggo? Because Christ has resurrected on the first day of the week. Ito yung paraan na pag-distinguish ng mga Kristiyano sa mga Hudyo. So ngayon, basahin natin ang Gospel. While Jesus was going through a field of grain on the Sabbath, his disciples were picking the heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands, and eating them. Some Pharisees said, "Why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" Jesus said to them in reply, "Have you not read what David did when he and those who were with him were hungry? How he went into the house of God, took the bread of offering, which only the priests could lawfully eat, ate of it, and shared it with his companions. Then he said to them, 'The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath.'" Ano kaya ang ibig sabihin ng ating napakinggang ebanghelyo? Now we proceed with the commentary. Sabbath. Under the Old Covenant, every 7th day, Saturday, was set aside for worship and rest, and no man, woman, slave, or beast was permitted to work. By New Testament times, Sabbath observance was greatly emphasized as a symbol of Israel's unique relationship with God. The Pharisees made Sabbath observance a benchmark of Jewish faithfulness and added a multitude of precepts that differentiated between lawful and unlawful behavior. Even the slightest infraction of these Sabbath standards will bring one's religious commitment into question in the eyes of the Pharisees. Jesus, though frequently accused of disregarding the Sabbath, acts out the true meaning of the Sabbath by restoring and giving rest to suffering individuals on this day. Not lawful sa verse 2. The Pharisees equate plucking grain with harvesting. In their view, the disciples violated God's commandment to abstain from gathering crops. Have you not read sa verse 3? The question is intentionally sarcastic and will be taken as an insult by the well-educated Pharisee. What David did, Jesus appeals to scriptural precedent from 1 Samuel chapter 21 verses 1 to 6. The legal exception once made for King David and his men to eat holy bread permits Jesus and his disciples to eat grain on the holy day of Sabbath. In both cases, the strict regulations of the Torah were allowed to bend to meet a pressing need, hunger, and to serve the anointed King of Israel, David and Jesus. Showbread sa verse 4, 12 cakes of bread were replaced weekly in the temple. When new loaves were set out on the Sabbath, Levitical priests ate the old ones. David and his men were permitted to breach this Levitical legislation by eating the bread reserved only for priests. The Son of Man hints at Jesus' messianic authority. So my dear parents, my dear learners, my dear faculty and staff, emerge natin yung mga nabasa natin sa first reading, sa responsorial psalm, and also the gospel. It's all about Christ. Now we are talking about Christ these past days as the center of our life. Itong Christ na ito ay siya yung nag-reconcile sa atin para maging banal at malinis before God the Father. At itong question ng mga Pharisees kay Jesus, so why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath? Ang center po ng Sabbath, the center of rest, is Jesus. Kaya sabi niya dun sa last part, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. Alam po ninyo mga magulang, mga mag-aaral, mga guro, ang ating rest day, this Sunday, ay may halaga, no? Bukas na po 'yun ay may halaga kung ito ay naka-focus o naka-sentro kay Jesus, no? Kasi nga po ang Diyos, si Jesus, He is our help. Siya lang puwedeng tumulong sa atin. So, see you tomorrow, no? Sa Sunday, sana po makapagsimba po kayo. Kung hindi po pwedeng face-to-face, at least sa Facebook Live, sa ICP Danaili, or you can also watch sa Basilica Minori of Piat, or any po, kahit sa television, any po na magsimba po tayo sa linggo. At ang pagsisimba natin ay nakasentro kay Jesus, no? Who has reconciled us to God the Father, and God is our help. So tomorrow is a Sunday Gospel Reflection. Mapapakinggan po ninyo, no, my dear learners, no, my dear parents, my dear faculty and staff. We all together will have guided questions so that we can personalize the Sunday Gospel tomorrow. So see you again tomorrow.